What's going on? Welcome back to Daily Football Zone. I'm here with my co-hosts X, Jake, and Dez. How's everyone doing tonight?
We're all good, buddy.
Good. Let's go.
Right. The whole crew wasn't here. People got lives who were busy. So I'm here with who can make it tonight. We got our second mock draft of the year, our 2023 mock draft 2.0. I've been waiting for this. I was hoping we got it done on Sunday, but things changed, and we're here doing it Wednesday night. Going to be released on, Thursday, March 23rd is when you're going to be able to watch it on YouTube, listen to it on Spotify, all that good stuff. So, I've been looking forward to this since the last one because mock drafts are always fun. Y'all ready for this? You got your
yes, sir. Let's get it cracking.
You guys got your big boards ready, knowing who y'all picking and all that.
We'll see how the dice roll.
Right. So pretty much, this is the mock draft 2.0. I'm put the PFF big board back on, the mock simulator, all that good stuff that they have on there. Pretty much, so I know I explained to you in backstage, but what for the people listening and watching, all that, I'm gonna go over how we're gonna do it. We're all assigned teams. We're the GMs of that team. We're gonna try to make it somewhat realistic, but somewhat more like we're playing the GMs and how we feel like what makes sense for this team. This is post free agency where I have trades, all that involved. Pretty much, it's more for fun more than what we realistically think is probably going to happen on draft day. Because obviously you never know what's going to happen on draft day, but we're going to make it somewhat realistic and more like us playing GMs and what we think could happen, or all that. So obviously people in the comments always want to be like, it's not gonna happen, whatever. Like I don't care. You don't know what's gonna happen either, aren't you? So, don't criticize Dez who wants to trade up for fucking Anthony Richardson or whoever, whatever. We never know.
It's just all good fun and what we think is the best move. So
right. So with that being said,
the Carolina Panthers are on the clock.
The Carolina Panthers are on the clock, and like I said, we're assigned teams before we hopped on here. And me as a Panther fan, I luckily got selected number 1 for the Carolina Panthers. And I know I mentioned it's going to be a trade draft. I'm looking now. I want this to happen, but is it going to happen? So whoever, Darian, I know you're in charge of the Houston Texans. If I propose you pick number 1 for 2 and 12. You as the GM, are you taking that?
If the right pieces are in place, I think I would take that. If the right pieces are in place. So, what's the offer?
If you pick number 1 for pick number 2 and 12. Do you think you use Houston GM or do you think Houston is sold on one guy that they would make that move?
I think Houston's gonna wait and see.
Damn.
They might not get their guy though,
Yeah, do you think
because other teams are calling the Panthers?
Yeah,
that's fair. That's fair.
Mr. GM, what do you think?
You know what? Let me think about it. So, Texans. If I'm Texans, am I sold on Bryce Young? Or do they care?
Do you really want CJ Stroud? Do you really want?
I don't know. Put it like this. I think Panthers. I think Texans won't mind either one.
Okay, so then I'll start draft. We'll stay at number 1. That's fine. I feel like you can go they're 1A 1B. I think if it's not Stroud at 1, he's gonna go number 2. If it's not if it's Stroud at 1, Young's going 2. I feel like there's no solidified guy. Like, say, Trevor Lawrence back in 2021, where they just knew it was going to be Trevor Lawrence, the first pick. So, I don't blame him. I wish it kind of was, so then we can make that option. But, it is what it is.
Fair.
So, me with the Carolina Panthers. I had to play that real quick. The pick is in. I know CJ Stroud had his pro day today. They look like they're falling in love with CJ Stroud. I want Bryce Young, but something tells me it's going to be CJ Stroud. So I'm rolling with CJ Stroud with number 1.
Ooh, he's going with what he thinks. Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
know I'm supposed to be the
Me next,
GM.
then.
I'm kind of mixing both me being GM and what I think as well. So with that shot, I went CJ Stroud just
Yeah,
because it was pro day.
realistically, they might trade down and try to get him with the Texans,
And-
probably.
Well, that's why. Who knows? Who really knows? But I'm going CJ Stroud number 1. But now Houston Texans are on the clock at number 2, and that's owned by Dez. Dez, you're owning the Texans. You're the GM.
We are taking.
Do you trade back, or
the-
are you picking?
No, we're staying. We're staying for sure.
Yeah,
We're taking Bryce
yeah.
Young.
Bryce Young
You know,
stays.
that's one of the best quarterbacks in this class. Arguably the top quarterback in this class. Only thing holding him back is his frame, but I think he has the skills to overcome that, and I think Texans won't mind getting a star player in Bryce Young.
Yeah, I don't see Will Levis or Anthony Richardson being the guy. It has to be Bryce Young if CJ Stroud's on the board. So fair pick. I feel like that's kind of obvious. But now this is where it gets good, because does Arizona trade back, or do they decide to stick there? Is someone going to give them a good offer? Jake, you have the Arizona Cardinals. Do you want to propose a trade of what you think can happen, or does anyone else have a team you think will move up? Call it now.
Raiders trade up.
Now it's on Jake if he wants to take that, and you have to give him. And then if he says yes, you gotta give him an offer.
I'm more than willing to trade back.
I am
willing to trade back?
offering the 7th pick, and
Here's their
let's see
picks
what
right
else
here.
we got.
Yeah, 7, 38, 70, 100, 109,
Or
future
potential
picks.
future-
I'll offer the
future first.
7th and the 70th pick.
to move into the top 3. Do you think that's enough, Jake?
No, not if other teams are calling.
All right. How about the 7th?
I don't know,
and the
Jake. Jake, you're
38th?
the GM. Give him a counter.
You got to give him that.
1, 2, 3.
I mean, I'll take 7 and 70, but if you include, are we including picks beyond this year?
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
I'll include a future second rounder.
Do you take you take that, Mr. Jake? You're the GM now, not whoever their GM is right now.
Well, they're probably
What's
not going to
his
be
name?
very good, so it should be a high second.
I can
I'll do
offer
it. I'll do it.
another. I can offer a 4th, maybe, of
Let's do it.
2024.
Give me, what is that for this year? Is that 109?
I can.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
So
Alright.
picks
Yeah,
number
alright, I'll
7,
do that.
70, 109 in round 2 in 2024 for pick 3.
Yeah, I'll do that.
All right, we're gonna do it.
First trade.
If I can get this stupid thing to stop tripping. There you go. Okay. So there it is. Raiders are trading up to the
Doing-
3rd
doing
overall
business.
pick with Arizona. Arizona gets pick number 7, 70, 109 in a 2024 second round pick. Raiders are on the clock. And you do own that. So since you're the Raiders, Dez,
A lot of
who
people
are you
might
select?
feel weird about this. A lot of people might not like this decision. But I'm gonna go with Anthony Richardson.
I like it.
Raiders need a quarterback. Josh McDaniels, I don't know how much time he has. I don't know if Garoppolo's the answer, but we can get a quarterback to start behind him. Jimmy's not the answer. He's going to be a bridge quarterback. So if we can get Anthony Richardson, start behind him, learn how to fix some of his mechanics, I think he has the potential to be a great player. His comp to me is Justin Fields. So, make a splash, Josh McDaniels. That's all you can really do.
Okay. So we got our first trade. It was a big one. X, I know you're up next with the Colts at 4. I know you're a Raider fan as well. How do you feel about that before you get into your GM duties?
We had this discussion earlier, but pretty much what I was going to say is I think it's a recipe for disaster. Pairing like the most raw quarterback prospect we've actually ever seen in a long time. If we're just going by like actual play in college, Josh Allen was a lot better of a player in college than Anthony Richardson. So you could make, the argument of like guys like Josh Allen worked out, but it's not the same. And it's not to say Anthony Richardson won't be good. I just don't think he's going to be good going to the worst, maybe play caller in the NFL. And the worst game manager, definitely. So, it is what it is, I guess. Like talent wise, it's a good pick,
like that.
but that's just not something I see working out. But
My
It's
boy
not,
Anthony will
it's not something
overcome.
that's not going to happen. It's just not something that's going to work out. I can bet big bucks on that.
Is that,
Yeah.
is that something you prefer?
yeah.
With all that draft capital you just gave up, is something you prefer that?
Well, if we were able to steal from the Cardinals, because that's a fleece, honestly, not giving up a future first for the 3 pick. Yeah, if you're not giving up that future first, then yeah, I mean, you're not really losing too much anyway. So in terms of the trade up, like it's solid. But yeah, I'll go ahead and make the Colts pick. The Colts were sitting, and we're gonna pick Will Levis at quarterback. And this isn't really like
Yeah,
I
make your
would,
pick, then get into what you think.
yeah, this isn't what
There we
what I
go.
would do situation. This is more so like what I think the Colts will do. And there's a lot of talk about Frank Reich's sort of quarterback. People are like, oh, Frank Reich's never had a quarterback. Like, if we're gonna be real, who was calling the shots on that? Because as far as I know, Chris Ballard makes all the selections for the Colts.
He's the GM.
Obviously, yeah, you consult with the head coach and everything about that, but it was even before Frank Reich came in there that they had the prototypical what people would call Frank Reich quarterback. You had Andrew Luck at first, and then even before Frank Reich came, they got the Jacoby Brissett's of the world, the pocket passer that stays in the pocket, throws the pass. Will Levis, he's mobile as well, but running isn't really his game. Not as much as I would say it's a part of Richardson's game. Richardson is a little bit more of a runner than Levis is. And so I think just stylistically, I feel like it's just a really Colts pick to make. What I would do? Maybe not, but I think it just makes sense.
Okay. So we got Will Levis. We got all the quarterbacks in the top 4 getting picked. Yeah, the Raiders trading up to 3 with Arizona to get Richardson. We're now at pick number 5. The Seattle Seahawks are on the clock via Denver due to the Russell Wilson trade. Jake, you own the Seahawks 5th overall pick. Who do the Seahawks draft, or do you have a trade proposition?
No trade here. I'm gonna stay at 5. And this is actually a very tough call because the Seahawks run a 4-3 system where their edge guys, their defensive ends, they're typically bigger than what a 3-4 outside linebacker would be, which is what Will Anderson is. And as much as I want Will Anderson to, be a Seahawk, he doesn't really fit the bill of what Seattle looks for in an edge rusher. So you either go with the gamble on Jalen Carter and hope that a stable organization like Seattle can, get his character in check, or you can take the edge rusher that is arguably the number 2 edge in this class, based on the consensus, which is Tyree Wilson, who I think fits the bill better for a Seattle edge rusher. I think Seattle takes the gamble. I'm gonna go Jalen Carter here. Carter. I don't, because
I like that.
I get the character concerns. I get it, but
And being 7 pounds heavier as pro day.
If you can sort that out, he's more of a sure thing on the football field than
Pairing with Draymond Jones.
Than arguably any player in the whole class. Arguably. Tyree Wilson, he's a big guy, but he didn't really come on until his senior year. Is he a project player? I don't know. I know he's got all the genetics and everything, but on the field, who do you know you're going to get more out of? And on top of that, who's the better football player? It's Jalen Carter. So assuming, Pete Carroll and John Snyder can, sort things out with his character and whatnot and can get him in line, they're going to get a good player for the interior of their defense at number 5.
Okay. That's a good one. And it wouldn't surprise me, though, with his off-the-field issues, the being 7 pounds heavier from the combine to pro day, not finishing his pro day due to cramping and all that. It wouldn't surprise me. Well, I would say, would it be a shocker if he fell out of the top 10?
Yeah.
I
could see it going either way. Top 10, top 5. He's going to be hard to predict just because he has a lot of skill, but the off the field issues are definitely a concern. But If anyone can find a use for him, Seattle definitely can.
It really hurt not taking Anderson there, but it's just it's scheme fit.
Yeah,
and they got
I'll
Draymond
add,
Jones.
I also add that honestly with Jalen Carter, just for the fact that he was really good at football, I didn't really see him falling due to like those off-field concerns. I seen him falling just not too far. I think it was just that coupled with the combine performance, not the combine performance, but the drills he was running, and how it was at the pro day, correct?
Yeah, and then being 7 pounds heavier from the combine to pro day.
I think it was
like 2 or 3 weeks between.
That was the unexpected part. So it's like when you pair that, it's just like, man. But the film in the end doesn't really lie. There was always something there. He's a great player if we're just strictly talking on field. So I can see why you'd make that selection if you're Seattle.
Okay. Well, now it's the Detroit Lions at number 6 via LA Rams that they got from the Matthew Stafford trade. X, you do own the Lions picks, 6 and 18. Who do the Detroit Lions pick, or do they trade?
No, the Detroit Lions are actually ecstatic right now, only for the fact that I believe it's a Raiders trade up that kind of threw everything askew. So I feel like nobody has Jalen Carter going to Seattle, but I think with that said, if you're the Lions, you got to take Will Anderson right here. You just got to. If you're Aaron Glenn with his defense, you got to. And I pondered taking Christian Gonzalez, Devin Witherspoon, because it's just positions that make more sense for the Lions. They picked edge last year, but if you have Will Anderson and Aiden Hutchinson, that's a potential elite edge duo, both on the rookie contracts. And so really you could just build the defense around that. Aiden Hutchinson is just 1 year in his rookie contract. So you just have years of capital. And even the Lions have more cap space than a lot of the teams in the league. So I think it's a good selection considering just like from a team building aspect, the most premium position on the defense, which would probably be edge. It's the most valuable position. It's not something you have to worry about like paying money for. And for that, you could potentially address other positions. And they got Cam Sutton too in free agency. So if you pick Will Anderson, you're potentially looking at what could be an elite defense for years to come.
And they're 3-4 defense, correct?
Yeah, Aaron Glenn runs 3-4 if I'm correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, Anderson would be a great fit.
Yeah,
pair him with Hutchinson, and then they had Houston as a rotational guy. I feel like that having Anderson fall to their laps at 6, I'd be ecstatic too.
Yeah, and it's funny. I don't really think Will Anderson's not a fit for like a 4-3 defense. I just feel like you could get more out of him with the 3-4 defense for the fact that he did play a lot of coverage at Alabama with like Pete Golding's defense. But even for, I feel like 4-3 DNs and 3-4 outside linebackers, it's just kind of synonymous with edge at this point, like with the way NFL defenses are going.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good pick. I'd be ecstatic if I was a Detroit Lion fan. Now we got the Arizona Cardinals back on the clock, trading back, with the Las Vegas Raiders at number 7. The Cardinals are owned by Jake. Who do the Arizona Cardinals pick here? Or do you think they trade back yet again?
No, not this time. We're going to stay here and we're going to run to the podium for this one. And Arizona Cardinals are going to select. Actually, no. You know what? No, I'm gonna go Christian Gonzalez here. I'm gonna get
Christian Gonzalez.
Class.
Christian Gonzalez.
Nah, valid, super valid.
Okay. Christian Gonzalez. They're gonna hopefully get their next great corner since Patrick Peterson. They lost Byron Murphy. It's a desperate position need, arguably the most desperate need on the defense, and they get the best player at this position in the class. So Arizona trades back, and they get some compensation from that trade, as well as a desperate need for their defense. So congrats, Arizona, you got a good one.
Okay, yeah, I feel like the cornerback can be that's a need for them. You don't got Peterson no more. Byron Murphy left for Minnesota. I feel like that'll be definitely a position of need. So it can be either Gonzalez, unless you think Witherspoon's the top guy. I can't blame you for that pick. But now we got the Atlanta Falcons on the clock at the 8th overall pick, and with the 8th overall pick in the 2023 NFL draft, the Atlanta Falcons select. Actually, no. Before I decide to make a pick, do you think Lamar Jackson is a trade possibility here?
Um,
No,
like
I'm good.
Ravens figured something out. I'm not gonna lie.
they select.
So
No.
you guys don't think Lamar Jackson's a possibility right here?
Oh, I think he's a possibility. I think
Now,
the Ravens will
Baltimore
figure that whole
Ravens.
thing out.
Would you take the 8th overall pick for Lamar Jackson? Whoever owns the Ravens?
No.
I'm the Ravens, and I would, but then that leaves a question at quarterback.
I just feel like this late into
Yeah,
like the whole free agency and everything like that, it's like
They got Pam.
Oh, hold on. Okay, wait. I might have an offer for you.
What's the
Who's Falcons? Caleb?
Yeah.
Okay. Steelers go from 17 to 8. We get 8. You guys get 17, 49. Next year's second. And I don't know, a late round pick this year, like 234 or something. Is that something you would accept?
Yes, I would take that.
Okay.
I would take that.
All right.
Just due to what I think. Yeah, I'll take it.
If you don't want to, it's fine.
No, I'm taking it.
Okay.
I feel like Atlanta can use a lot of.
I like that. I like that.
They
I
can
like
use a lot of
that.
prospects. They can build. I mean,
All
they
right.
did a lot for agency, but I feel like they can still gather more picks to get younger. on
yeah,
their
they probably
team.
got guys they like everywhere. So
I can see them trading back. Yeah, I'll do that. So we got another trade. Jake, he's being really aggressive as GM. He decided to trade up his Pittsburgh Steelers to the 8th overall pick. Jake must have really liked the guy right here. Who do the Pittsburgh Steelers select at 8th overall after that trade up?
So there's always an awkward pause when that happens.
I love that.
I want you to name the pick, then get into analysis.
It ruins the flow and everything. So Omar Khan and Andy Whitell, former Eagles assistant GM, they're both tag teaming this draft and the Steelers front office for years to come. This is their first season doing it. And what they've shown this offseason so far is aggressiveness. Maybe not necessarily going after the biggest names of free agency, but they've been quietly going after name after name after name, just like filling in holes. And the Steelers are known also for developing draft talent. Not overpaying big players on the free agency market. They're known for taking their players in the draft and developing them. Now, because they also have pick 32 from courtesy of the Chicago Bears via the Chase Claypool trade. Thank you very much. I was such a fleece, by the way.
It was.
This gives them flexibility that the Steelers have not had in years past, where they can trade up into the top 10 from 17 and still have pick 32. So I think this is realistically, I think this is a prime opportunity for the Steelers to trade up and either into the top 10 or just outside of the top 10. And they're going to go with a guy that I'm just going to go, if I'm trying to be realistic here, I'm going to go with a guy that the Steelers had dinner with just last night, actually. A certain Ohio State tackle prospect by the name of Paris Johnson Jr. And he's going to be the new lockdown for the left side of Kenny Pickett's blind side. And
I like that. Solid pick.
In addition to that, if you know Andy Whitell, he like I said earlier, he came from Philadelphia. He's been really active in free agency, specifically with the offensive line. And what are the Eagles known for? Their offensive line. not just last year, not just the year before that, but just ever since he's been in the front office, him and Harry Roseman together, they've been all offensive line, build the trenches, and that's what they are going to do here in Pittsburgh. They're going to build the trenches, something that they haven't done the past like 5 years. And
Okay.
it's time. It's time. The rebuild of the Steelers O-line starts this year.
With
Our
Paris
quarterback
Johnson
needs
Jr.
protecting. We need time to throw. We need gaps so that Najee can get his slow legs going and get him runs longer than 2 and 3 yards per carry. And Paris Johnson's going to be the guy to do that.
That's a great pick.
I-
That's a good pick.
Protect your franchise quarterback. Get some better blocking for Najee Harris to improve the offense. I can see them trying to trade up and get one of the better offensive tackle prospects in this draft. But Jake, you still got to ramble some more because you also own the Chicago Bears 9th overall pick via Carolina. You own 3 picks in a row, Mr. GM. Who do Chicago select with the 9th overall pick?
Do it.
Do it.
Do what?
Who they need to select?
Oh,
Sitting right there. I feel like
oh,
I think me and X are on the same page.
oh. No. I know what you're referring to. They're gonna go Tyree Wilson here. They're gonna get their edge back.
Okay,
Good job.
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So this is a bit of an odd fall for Tyree Wilson. We usually see him go in the top 5, top 6, somewhere around there. But I'm just going by what the board, I'm just going by how the board's going, and the Bears arguably get a top 5, top 6 player at number 9. Despite trading back for number 1, and Matty Eberflus gets his next edge guy for his defense, and he may not be as certified as somebody like Will Anderson, and he would have been great for the Bears too. But Matt Eberflus is a really good defensive mind. So if he can, coach around maybe some of the uncertainties with Tyree Wilson, then that and then his genetics will just come together, and hopefully he can be a franchise edge for the next 10 years for the Windy City.
Okay. Well, there's a pass rusher off the board for Chicago Bears, who traded back to 9 from the everyone knows the little trade with the Carolina Panthers to for Carolina to get the 1st overall. But now we got the Philadelphia Eagles with the 10th overall pick via New Orleans due to all that whole trading they did last year, which I feel like Philly fleeced them on that. But X, who do the Philadelphia Eagles select with the 10th overall pick?
Yeah, just one little note about that their selection with Tyree Wilson. I also think it's actually pretty cool too. It definitely fits. I know Matt Eberflus probably had some talk with Chris Ballard when they actually selected Kwity Paye, another athletic DN outside of Michigan. Kwity Paye didn't work out as well as maybe Matt Eberflus could have thought, but Tyree Wilson has more of that athletic upside, so I think that's a good pick for them. As for the Eagles pick, I talk about this all the time, but I just think it's a perfect fit. The Eagles select Brian Branch, safety from Alabama. My justification for this is pretty much Brian Branch. He ran a lot of that cover 2 shell defense, a lot of the cover 4 defense at Alabama, and it was the perfect scheme fit for him. He's rangy. He could cover a lot of ground, but it's not to say he can't fulfill the needs of even just like a box safety, good tackler, just a jack of all trades sort of guy. And I think what the Eagles are going to try to run, right? They ran a lot of cover 4 quarters, just like philosophy in general, with Jonathan Gannon as their DC, and they get Sean Desai from the Bears, who had learned under Vic Fangio, who runs that same sort of cover 4 quarters defense. So I just think it's a perfect scheme fit for what the Eagles like to run, and I also think it's the perfect player for that scheme.
Yeah, man, you lose C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Marcus Epps left to Las Vegas. I feel like that's a big position that they need to fill. It's a big hole in that secondary. It's good that they get Bradbury back and Darius Slay got a new extension, but they still need to have solid safeties to protect them in the secondary. So I can see Brian Branch being a Phillies guy all the way at 10 overall. But now we got the Tennessee Titans on the clock at 11th overall pick. And with the 11th overall pick, I have the Tennessee Titans going receiver.
Ooh.
Not with
Ooh.
Quentin Johnston, but I got them going Jackson Smith-Njigba at 11.
That's actually a really interesting pick.
Interesting.
I
I
think
like how you picked Smith-Njigba over Quentin Johnson, because if we're going to be realistic here, he's a lot more of a fit for the. I guess they don't have Arthur Smith as their OC anymore. I believe they promoted from within for the OC position, correct?
I
it was, the
believe
guy,
they did.
it was the guy with the DUI. What's his name?
Yeah. So no, they had Todd Downing, but
Yeah,
they
Todd
canned
Downing.
him.
That's it.
But I believe they promoted within. They're probably going to run the same sort of scheme, which is like the wide zone, like a wide zone play action stretch run sort of scheme. And I think Jackson Smith-Njigba actually fit that a lot more than Quentin Johnston, who I think probably would succeed better in a traditional pro style offense,
Yeah.
where he can be that true deep threat.
Also, yeah, and due to the size difference between Jackson and Quentin, you draft Traylon Burks last year, who's a bigger bodied receiver. I just don't see them pairing him with Quentin Johnston, who's 6'4", 218 or so pounds. I feel like they'll go someone more like Jackson Smith-Njigba's frame that you could pair with Traylon Burks instead of going two big bodied receivers. I mean, you saw that in Carolina, how that worked out with Benjamin and Funchess. Obviously, it's not always you don't want two big bodied receivers at 1 and 2, obviously, because it doesn't always pan out that way. But yeah, I feel like they need a wide receiver desperately. You don't got Robert Woods anymore. Traylon Burks, he was up and down his rookie year. The average person probably can't name another receiver in that tight end in that Titans receiving group other than some that come to my name is like Kyle Phillips. I think they brought back Nick Westbrook. And then they got Reggie Roberson or something like that. So I feel like wide receiver is a big need. You could say tackle, but they gave Andre Dillard a contract I don't think he deserved, but they gave him like $27 million, and then they got Nicholas Petit-Frere last year in the draft. So I feel like they'll hold off on drafting offensive tackle, but they've been pretty much cleaning up house there. Like Kevin Byard might be gone. Henry's been in trade rumors. They got rid of a lot of guys. So, but I feel like at 11, they need to address the receiver position. It could be possibly a trade back scenario, but I had them get Jackson Smith-Njigba with the 11th overall pick. But now we're at the 12th overall pick, and that is Darian. You own the Houston Texans. Who do the Texans select at 12th overall to pair with Bryce Young? Or as a first round pick for Houston.
Well, the Texans, after that last pick, I think, they're running up to the podium. They're not going to take no chances, and they're going to go with TCU wide receiver Quentin Johnston to pair with Bryce Young, their new quarterback.
Back-to-back receivers.
Give him a true number one option that they do not have and did not have all of last year. For the Texans, they addressed a couple of their needs defensively in free agency. They got Denzel Perryman. They also got Corey Littleton, a lot of veteran talent. They also added running back Devin Singletary, Robert Woods, Dalton Schultz at tight end. So
Jimmy Ward.
They go with another offensive weapon to get that offense moving in a different way than they had last year, where that offense was not moving at all. So I know DeMeco Ryans is a defensive coach, but I think he goes all in on offense in his first two draft choices in this 2023 mock draft.
Yeah, they've been making a lot of moves, and then they got DeMeco Ryans as head coach. Yeah, they brought in a lot of former San Francisco players like Jimmy Ward and Hassan Ridgeway, and they traded away Brandon Cooks for a couple late round picks, and they picked up Singletary, got Dalton Schultz. I feel like they you get Robert Woods, but you want to get a young guy in there. I think Quentin Johnston's the smart pick, or they can go there at 12, or they got an early second round pick too. If there's a receiver they want there, they can also go that route as well. But yeah, I feel like addressing the receiver is a big need especially for Bryce Young.
Quentin Johnston's, he's your prototypical X receiver. He's a number one guy who can make all the catches. He's got the size. He's got the motor. I think he's a great pick for the Texans right here, and a safe pick.
Yeah. So now we got the New York Jets on the clock. Darian, you do own the New York Jets. Do they make a pick? Do you think Aaron Rodgers is traded to the New York Jets? I mean, it hasn't happened yet. Do you think that happens, Mr. GM?
I do think it happens. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is playing in Green Bay. So if you will accept it, Kev, I will give you the 13th pick. And
Do you think so for in this
the
situation, what else do you think they give up?
43rd. I think they give up the 43rd.
And then maybe like a late round pick,
maybe a next year. Yeah, next year 4th rounder. I don't think they give up too much just because Aaron Rodgers is, a media circus. But I think they give up enough to make them move off of him for sure.
And he's 39 too.
So you can either accept that, or if you want another pick,
move that round 4 to round 3.
That's fine. Yeah, if you will accept that, I'll take that.
And then 13-43, and then round 3 next year.
I'll even throw in a 2025 4th rounder
for good measure.
But yeah, fuck it. If I'm the Jets, I'll if I'm the Packers, do I want that for Aaron Rodgers?
Yes, you don't have to accept it.
Do I want that 3rd to be a 2nd?
You don't have to feel pressure to accept it.
I'll force it. I'll have it. Because who knows what the actual draft compensation is going to be, but I do think that trade's eventually going to happen. So I feel like Green Bay will own this pick at some point this month or next month, depending on when that happens. Obviously, before the draft starts. So I'll let that happen. Obviously, do I think it's going to be those picks? Obviously, we don't know. We're doing this for fun. But yeah, the Green Bay Packers are on the clock via New York Jets getting Aaron Rodgers. And with this pick, they're not going to get a quarterback. Jordan Love's going to be their guy. They can go receiver. I'm going to give them tight end Dalton Kincaid with the 13th overall pick. Actually,
I like it.
Yeah, I'll give him Dalton Kincaid. 13th overall pick. What's his name? Robert Tonyan left to Chicago. They can use another receiver, but I don't think any receivers are going to go this early. You already got the 2 guys right there, so I don't think another guy's going to go, back to back to back, and especially at 13. Yep. So I feel like address another need on that offense to help Jordan Love and getting him a security blanket like Dalton Kincaid will be. I feel like is an answer there, and that's what I roll.
And they also lost Allen Lazard too, so that gives them another option in the passing game.
Yeah. So, now Green Bay gone with Aaron Rodgers. You get 13, and you got 15 coming up. But until then, we got the New England Patriots on the clock with the 14th overall pick, and that is owned by that's Jake, right? Yeah, Jake, you own the 14th overall pick with the New England Patriots. What's the move right here?
Wait, so if I trade back, I don't control the pick. I don't control the team that moves up, right?
Who do you think would trade up, and then you communicate with that person?
Wait, but would that be my pick though?
It'll be whoever trades up. Whoever trades up's pick.
Oh, who has the Ravens?
Darian, I believe, right?
I'm down for a trade if you offer something.
If you want to consult with Darian to make that pick, maybe you can.
They don't have a second.
I could possibly trade you that pick if you want to make that pick, and I would just make the Patriots pick after. I could potentially be down for that.
Okay, this is tough because they don't have a second rounder.
I mean, it's.
I'll give you.
So what do you have? You have.
I'll give you 14, and I'll take 22, and
all right, so far
120 and 124, and then I'll take Should I do a first or a second next year?
I don't think they'll give up a first to go to 14.
If you give us
Oh,
46 and a next year second, how does that look?
make it 76, and you have a deal.
Okay, we can take that.
All right, let's do it.
You got accepted too. Okay, now the Baltimore Ravens traded up and are on the clock. Yeah, who do the Ravens select 14th overall pick?
Did you want to do this pick, Jake, or no?
Oh, I did. If that's fine.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you're good. I'll take the Patriots then.
Okay. And with this 14th selection in the draft, the Baltimore Ravens are going to cause some family feud here. And they're going to take Joey Porter Jr.
Okay, not Devin Witherspoon.
You just ruined the Commanders fans, bro. They were clamoring for him at pick 16.
And I think with how the trade went down and considering the player that they got with this 14th pick, I would like to think Ravens fans are ecstatic considering, their secondary has been hurt and in shambles the last couple of years. They have Marlon Humphrey, but, you also have Marcus Peters, who's, been up and down with injuries, and he's been a bit shaky in coverage. So now you get Marlon Humphrey, Joey Porter Jr. at the corner spot as your main outside guys. And then you still have Marcus Peters, who can play really anywhere. And then you have Kyle Hamilton back at safety. I mean, this Baltimore secondary is looking really rebuilt here as we're going in this draft.
Harbaugh, defensive coach too.
Yeah. I mean, well, he's a special teams coach, I think.
This defensive guy too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm sure he is.
Okay.
He probably does special teams, but I thought he was defensive as well.
I'm sure Ravens fans will be happy about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I got the Green Bay Packers on the clock now, again with the 15th overall pick. Now, I was thinking about trading this back actually, but it's with a team that I own. Would you guys approve that?
Yeah.
I got them.
Yeah.
I say actually. Yeah, trade back with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'd say for 15, they take 24, 88, and then the next year's. Do you say next year's? Do you think a second's too much?
No, you could add that
Nah,
second.
for 15, nah.
I mean, different front offices like different things, so it's completely possible. I know. I'm trying to think if Trent Baalke's more of a aggressive guy or not.
Yeah, I think Baalke's more of a gambler considering who he took first overall last year.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I'm gonna offer it and see if it goes through. It did not go through.
You can force the trade. You're GM.
I know, but I wanted to see if it actually gets taken. But you know what? That's what's gonna happen. Whatever compensation gets, whatever. I feel like this can be a move that Jacksonville's gonna trade up. And you got a guy like Devin Witherspoon sitting on the board there still.
Ooh.
They need a defensive back. They don't got Shaquille Griffin no more. Their corners right now is Tyson Campbell and Monteric Brown or something like that. I feel like you have Devin Witherspoon still sitting there at 15. I feel like Jacksonville can make that push to trade up and get a cornerback to pair with Tyson Campbell and draft a guy like Devin Witherspoon out of Illinois.
Solid pick. I like it. They need help on defense, and Devin Witherspoon is still on the board. He's still a solid prospect. Arguably could go higher than this in some drafts, so I like it.
And Green Bay gets some more draft capital, and they'll have a pick at number 24. But before we get into the Commanders pick, I'm going to recap who we got off the board so far. So with the first overall pick, we got Carolina selecting C.J. Stroud. At pick number 2, the Houston Texans select Bryce Young. With the third overall pick, the Las Vegas Raiders trade up with the Arizona Cardinals to select Anthony Richardson, quarterback out of Florida. And then with the fourth overall pick, we get our fourth straight quarterback. The Colts select Kentucky quarterback Will Levis. Then we got pick number 5, Seattle selecting Jalen Carter. Pick 6, Will Anderson Jr. selected by the Detroit Lions. Pick number 7, Arizona Cardinals. They select Christian Gonzalez. And then with the 8th pick, the Pittsburgh Steelers trade up with the Atlanta Falcons to select their future offensive tackle Paris Johnson Jr. With the 9th overall pick, Chicago drafted edge Tyree Wilson. With the 10th overall pick, the Philadelphia Eagles select safety Brian Branch. With the 11th overall pick, the Tennessee Titans select wide receiver Jackson Smith and Jigba. With the 12th overall pick, the Houston Texans select wide receiver Quentin Johnston. And I should have done this earlier because I'm like rambling. Green Bay with the 13th overall pick trade Aaron Rodgers to get this pick from the Jets, and they get their future tight end Don Kincaid. With the 14th overall pick, the Baltimore Ravens trade up with the New England Patriots to select Joey Porter Jr. And to get up to date, the 15th overall pick, the Jaguars trade up with the Green Bay Packers to get Devin Witherspoon. And that's the top 15 picks that we got so far. I should have did it by tens, but 15 was like the next number to do it by. So yeah, that's our top 15 so far. Now we got the Washington Commanders on the clock with the 16th overall pick.
So far, so good.
And then who are the Commanders again?
I am Commanders at pick
All right,
16.
I actually got the Commanders.
Yes, sir.
What does Washington do right here?
So, interesting thing. Washington does have a lot of needs. Tackle is one of their needs. And Peter Skoronski's lying right there. Not going to pick him though. I do think tackle is a need for them. But I know they picked up Andrew Wiley, I believe, from the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And I don't think you make a signing like that if you don't have any plans for that. I'm not sure what the numbers are looking like on that. But this is going to be a kind of a out of nowhere pick. I'm not even sure if he's on like the first page of this list. It's just a player that I believe in a little bit more. And the quarterback situation, it's a little up in the air. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. They did sign Jacoby Brissett. So they might have him compete with Sam Howell maybe, and maybe see what Sam Howell has. But I think, with the receiver position for Washington not looking that bad, you got McLaurin there, you still got Dotson, your first round draft pick from last season. Why don't you try to make the most stacked offense you can to properly evaluate your quarterback and Michael Mayer from Notre Dame, tight end.
Solid pick. I agree. Logan Thomas is just getting older.
Yep.
Can't stay healthy. I feel like tight end's a big need, even though they don't got it. They don't got that position as a need for some reason on PFF. But I feel like tight end is something that could be addressed. And Michael Mayer sitting on the board right there. I feel like it's a good pick. But now we got the Atlanta Falcons on the clock via Pittsburgh due to the trade that we had earlier. And with the 17th overall pick, I have the Atlanta Falcons addressing the defense side of the ball. And they go. Who did they go? Let's see. I'm gonna give him Lucas Van Ness. I was thinking maybe corner.
I like that pick.
But you know what? I'm gonna give him an edge rusher. I feel like they can obviously use some help there with Grady Jarrett in the front line. I'm trying to remember who else they got in free agency. It's blanking on me. But I feel like with Lucas Van Ness there, I feel like they addressed the defense side of the ball. And they traded back, got a couple, they got draft capital as well to do that. So Tyquan Graham and those are the inside, but they got like Caden Ellis and Arnold Ebiketie. I feel like putting Van Ness in that rotation will bolster their defense. But now we got the Detroit Lions with the 18th overall pick, and that's owned by X, I believe, right? Or is that Darian?
Yeah, that's me.
All right, X, you were on the clock with the Detroit Lions with their second pick. You had them select what's his name? Will Anderson Jr., the edge rusher, with the 6th overall pick. Where do they go now at pick 18?
Yeah, so I was a little bit at odds on what I should do with this pick. So I definitely did consider. I was like, man, I know in our last mock, but this was before the Lions went out and signed David Montgomery. We had them picking Bijan Robinson from Texas. And I'm thinking, I'm like,
that off.
is it worth it to make that pick again?
I I don't think so. No.
Yeah, to which I say I don't agree either. And then even with the Lions, you're pretty much set on O-line. So, you know, you have Skoronski sitting right there, which is a little bit unpredictable of a fall for him. You'd expect more tackle needy teams, maybe to potentially trade up. So you're kind of just left with, you know, if you're the Lions, you're kind of in like a weird situation. I'm more of a believer in this guy. I know Aaron Glenn, he does like to run man defense a lot. Definitely get his corners in the players' faces, and there's no real, I guess, better man corner right now in this draft to me than not Deontay Banks, but Cam Smith from South Carolina.
Okay, Cam Smith.
Yes, I know. I think this is kind of the part of the draft where you got to just pick the guys that you like, that are in that like first, second round territory, because it's getting to the like late first territory. But yeah, I just believe in the player of Cam Smith. You had J.C. Horn come out. Was it last season? No, 2 seasons ago with the Panthers. I think I just like South Carolina corners.
So you still think they go corner, even though they got Mosley and Sutton in free agency?
Wait, they got Emmanuel Mosley?
Yeah, they got Emmanuel Mosley.
Yeah, no, screw it. Screw it. Yeah, you got to pick who you like. I like Cam Smith. I'm the GM of the hypothetical Lions.
That's a good enough answer.
You know, Well, I think Sutton and Mosley are good starters. Do I think they have the upside of Cam Smith? I probably wouldn't say. I don't think Cam Smith is going to be good as them day one, but I think Cam Smith could be just a little bit more than what they are. Not only that, but yeah. I know Cameron Sutton. You can't really bank on him, I guess, being that same player he was this last season. He hasn't been that player like his entire career. He started recently, just coming into his own. No slight to the player, but I don't know. You just want to make sure you're good at that position. I probably should have traded the pick down.
It's still a need for them too.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it happens. But now we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the clock with the 19th overall pick, and they can go a lot of different directions here. But I feel like they just signed Baker Mayfield. Obviously, quarterback's not at play at 19. There's a trade possibility, possibly, due to the fact that they have a lot of needs and can use some draft capital. But I got them. You got Peter Skoronski sitting on the board right there. They cut Donovan Smith. Justin Skule is the right tackle. You got Tristan Wirfs at left. Some believe that he can move into the inside due to his little arms, but then you got guys like Nick Leverett and Brandon Walton at guard. So even if they decide to do that, I feel like that's the right move. And Peter Skoronski sitting on the board there. I feel like Tampa Bay got to select him. And obviously, you got Baker Mayfield, your quarterback. You need to obviously give him some protection, or he's going to be Baker Mayfield of the past 2 years. So, Peter Skoronski.
I like that pick. Possible cornerstone tackle right there. You know, someone you could use for years. So I like that pick right there.
What a fall for him though.
Yeah, his tiny arms are unattractive to GMs.
Oh man.
But now we got the Seattle Seahawks second pick of the first round at 20th overall. Jake, you are the owner. You're the GM. What did the Seahawks do at 20th overall?
So back at pick 5, the Seahawks took a pretty
Remember, we had them
gamble.
picking Jalen Carter earlier.
Yeah. They took a pretty big a pretty big gamble at number 5 for Jalen Carter, and if that pays off, then great. You get one of the best. You get potentially one of the best defensive tackles in all of football. But if it doesn't, then hey, guess what? At least you have pick number 20. And I think that's also part of the reason why I went with Carter, is because Seattle does have that double first round pick flexibility. So they do have a little more room for error than most other teams in that top 5 scenario. So here at 20, I was kind of hoping Skoronski would still be there, because I would make it interesting by picking him and then converting him over to guard, because they could use a little interior help, even though they have their tackles locked up, so there wouldn't be room for Skoronski there. But I just thought it would have been fun to put him on the interior, because just because of his short arms and whatnot.
His tiny arms.
his tiny arm, sure. But he does play with a nastiness that you want from an offensive lineman. So he can definitely kick inside, and he has that agility to pull and do things that guards do. So that would have been fun, but we gotta play with the board, and he's not there. So I think oh man, okay. I thought about going Deontay Banks to pair with Tariq Woolen because Pete Carroll, being the defensive coach that he is, he loves his outside corners with size that can play the coverage zone and just don't get thrown over the top. And they can just use their height and their size to just body receivers and just go get the ball while it's in the air. That's what Richard Sherman did. That's what Tariq Woolen does now. But I'm gonna go with a different route. I'm gonna go to the offensive side of the ball. And why now?
Because you're making your pick.
Why now? And you give Geno a pretty generous 3-year contract. And they and realistically, if you're pick number 5, quarterback is a possibility. But in this mock draft, that didn't really go according to plan since there was a run on quarterbacks for the first 4 picks. So why not just get Geno some extra help, and we'll get him that speedy inside weapon and USC product, Jordan Addison.
Oh wow.
Ooh, okay.
Didn't
I
expect
feel like
that,
they could
but
use.
not
I'm not
necessarily
surprised.
mad at it.
I feel like they can use another receiver to pair with Metcalf and Lockett. Lockett's only getting older. Addison's a young cat. You got DK Metcalf in his prime right now. I feel like that's a good move by Seattle, in my opinion.
I was hoping JSN would be there, but he was long gone. So I'll settle for Addison. He can play in the slot and just use his speed to take the cap off of defenses.
I had the Chargers again. I know I picked for them in our first mock draft, and Jordan Addison was the guy. I was kind of looking at that pick right now, thinking about doing it again to Charger fans. But I didn't get the opportunity to. So thank Jake for that. But I'm gonna go over our previous 5 picks that recently fell off the board. Pick 16, we had Washington Commanders select tight end Michael Mayer. Pick 17, the Atlanta Falcons traded back with Pittsburgh and selected edge rusher Lucas Van Ness. With the 18th overall pick, the Detroit Lions add more to the secondary with cornerback Cam Smith. With the 19th overall pick, Tampa Bay Buccaneers select offensive tackle from Northwestern Peter Skoronski. And then with the 20th overall pick, the Seattle Seahawks just selected wide receiver Jordan Addison. Now, the Los Angeles Chargers are now on the clock, and they can go a lot of way. They can go a lot of things right here. Does Austin Eckler get paid? Do they trade Austin Eckler? Could they go running back right here? Do they go wide receiver? Do they
Pull
go
the trigger.
cornerback?
Trigger.
Do they go cornerback? I feel like I'm gonna give him a corner. Nice. I don't know, because they are getting Jackson back, and they did give him a big contract. They got Michael Davis there, and then who's the other? Is there another? They have another corner, right?
Asante Samuel.
Yeah, Asante Samuel. So do they really need Deontay Banks unless they don't think what's his name's the answer?
I don't think they're gonna give up on JC Jackson so quick.
I don't either.
He might, depending on how he performs, he might be a cap casualty after next season.
Next season, though.
And I feel like that's when they would address it then. You know what? For the Chargers, I got Kalijah Kancey sitting there looking at me.
Yeah, after the loss of Jerry Tillery,
he gets compared to Aaron Donald, another LA lineman for the Rams. I feel like Chargers get one of their own, and they go Kalijah Kancey with the 21st overall. And he had a great combine. I feel like to put him in the inside with Mack and Bosa on the edge, pair him with Sebastian Joseph Day. I feel like you know, I don't think they'll go receiver just yet due to Addison being off the board, and I don't think they'll give up on Jackson yet to select Deontay Banks. I don't. They just gave Pipkins a new contract, and then there's no linebackers worth picking at 21. So I feel like Kalijah Kancey is a good fit for him right there.
I like that.
But now we got the New England Patriots that traded back with Baltimore with the 22nd overall pick. I know Darian, you said you were going to do this pick. What did the New England Patriots do with the 22nd overall pick?
For the New England Patriots, 22nd pick, we have Nolan Smith, edge rusher out of Georgia.
Oh,
The reason I pick him, he's a little undersized,
Miles
but
Murphy.
with a 4.39 40, he's a lock in the first round. And looking at it, you know, Patriots, they made a lot of free agency moves, but the one thing they didn't address was edge in that free agency. So I think they can come through with a solid edge rusher with a lot of value on the board in Nolan Smith. And he's one of those guys who can play in the 3-4 system, you know, speed rusher off the edge. I know Bill Belichick likes to run that. He's been running that since 2000. So I think they get a home run pick in Nolan Smith, drafting him here at 22.
Okay, nice. Okay, so yeah, Bill Belichick was probably licking his chops, seeing Nolan Smith and his speed there. So yeah, not bad. But now we got the Minnesota Vikings on the clock with the 23rd overall pick, and that is owned by you as well, Darian. So who do the Minnesota Vikings select with the 23rd overall pick?
The Vikings, they need a lot of defensive help. They could go a multitude of directions here. This one is definitely a little tough. I see a couple players that they could go with, but I think we might have to go with Deontay Banks. Just because, you know, they don't have a great back seven. It just provides a lot more depth for them and a lot more wiggle room for them to be a better defense in the coming year. So yeah, that's my pick for them. I think Deontay Banks is a solid pick for them. Best man coverage, one of the best man coverage ones in there.
They just, you know, they just signed Byron Murphy as well. They got rid of Cameron Dantzler. But yeah, that secondary has been mighty suspect for the Minnesota Vikings. I could also see maybe doing an edge. I know they got Marcus Davenport, but what's his name's also been in question, not wanting to play for him, Zadarius Smith. So maybe you know, you got a guy like Miles Murphy there that could also be a possibility for Minnesota. But I don't blame you for taking Deontay Banks right there. But now we got the Green Bay Packers once again on the clock after trading Aaron Rodgers to get 13th overall and then trading back from 15 with the Jacksonville Jaguars so they could select Devin Witherspoon. You know, with this pick, I feel like they addressed tight end needs with Dalton Kincaid with the 13th overall pick. You know, they drafted Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs last draft. But other than that, they don't really got any receivers on their depth chart. The only one I know of is Bo Melton from Rutgers. So yeah, I feel like they're gonna address the receiver need, and I feel like who do they like? Do you think they need to trade back to get Zay Flowers, or or they like a guy like Josh Downs? Maybe they trade back again, possibly. But I'm not gonna have him trade back again. I'm giving Zay Flowers here at 24 overall.
Solid pick.
I feel like you gotta give Jordan Love the targets. Obviously, if you want him to be successful, you know, Watson and Dobbs can't do it themselves. Samori Toure, whoever that is, or Jeff Cotton or Bo Melton aren't number threes. So Zay Flowers, a smaller cat, gets the Steve Smith comparison at 5'9", but he's a speedy guy that you keep Dobbs and Watson on the outside, keep the Flowers in the slot. So I can see that being a possibility. Like, and you got Dalton Kincaid at tight end to replace Robert Tonyan, who I think Kincaid's better than. So Now at 25th overall pick, you got the New York Giants on the clock. And Darian, that's yet again another pick of yours. Who do the New York Football Giants
With the
do?
25th pick, the Giants select North Carolina Tar Heels wide receiver Josh Downs. And the reason I picked this is because they just signed Darren Waller from that trade with the Raiders. And I think why not, give Daniel Jones another weapon and speedy receiver Josh Downs, who ran a 4.48 at the combine. That'll give him an edge up top, or not an edge up top, a threat to take the top off defenses, give Waller a little bit more wiggle room on the underneath stuff, and give Daniel Jones a lot more firepower on the offensive side. Pair that with Saquon Barkley, I think you got a pretty decent Giant squad out there.
Yeah, and even they re-signed Darius Slayton too. So honestly, I like the fit only for the fact that Josh Downs is what is one of the best red zone receivers I've actually seen in the draft, like in recent history. So you have like Slayton, who could be a deep threat, and Josh Downs, he could also take the top off of defense. But if you get into the red zone, he has like the route running to get open in the red zone, and that would help out with Daniel Jones, who hasn't been too great in the red zone, but it's, you could blame that on a lack of maybe receiving help. He hasn't had the best receivers, Isaiah Hodgins, down the stretch last season.
Yeah. And another thing to add is, like you said, the red zone threat. He did catch 11 touchdowns his last year and surpassed 1,000 yards and had almost 1,000 receptions. So he's every bit as reliable as you can get, at the 5'9" frame for a wide receiver. So, yeah, home run pick, I believe.
Okay. Before we get in with the Dallas Cowboys, to recap the previous 5 picks, we had the Los Angeles Chargers drafting Kalijah Kancey with the 22nd overall pick. New England traded back with Baltimore to select edge Nolan Smith. With the 23rd overall pick, the Minnesota Vikings selected cornerback Deonte Banks. With the 24th overall pick, the Green Bay Packers traded back with the Jaguars and selected wide receiver Zay Flowers. And then we got another wide receiver off the board at 25th with New York Giants selecting Josh Downs out of North Carolina. And now we have America's team on the clock. X, what do the Dallas Cowboys do with the 26th overall pick?
Yeah, I got them taking the number 1 guy that's on there, Brian Bresee. I think it just makes sense. I think the Cowboys, what they need is a lot more like beef on the interior of the D line. You got your edge players, you got Lawrence, and then you have Parsons who plays coverage, he plays edge. They call him the Lion King. He could do it all. But on the Cowboys, you have man, I always screw up this name, but Osa Odigizua on the D line with I believe they had drafted they tried their hand in drafting like Tristan Hill from UCF. And what's his name? Sam Williams.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you can get a potential, not all pro player maybe, but he has a great talent, especially for the 26th pick. His film didn't look too impressive last season, but the years before that, he was going through a lot. There was a tragedy with his sister and everything. So, the years before that, though, he definitely had put some good film out there that showed his upside as a player. So if you're the Cowboys, you're kind of banking on that film from earlier, and maybe just hoping that maybe the off the field stuff kind of affected him mentally, maybe, and you didn't see his best game his last season at Clemson.
Okay, good pick there. I feel like defensive lineman's definitely in the equation. If it's not Bresee, maybe I know Mozzie Smith from Michigan's been linked to him. So Bresee falling. I feel like that's the guy you're gonna get if you're the Dallas Cowboys. But now we got the Buffalo Bills on the clock, and X, you are the GM of you're Brandon Beane. You're the GM as well. What do the Buffalo Bills do with the 27th overall pick?
So I know you guys. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, are you trying to make a trade or?
I feel like this is the time where some people in the early second do trade back into the first, if that's what you're thinking of, Jake.
No, I'm just trading at one spot. I'm Cincy.
You want Cincy to move up to 27?
Yeah.
That's up to you.
Okay, let me think.
I know what he wants. But
I think I know what he wants. And it's not the player I'm thinking of for the Bills. So we can make this trade happen.
Okay.
Just
so
yeah.
Buffalo Bills with Cincinnati.
Oh no! Wait. Oh. if it's not the player that I'm thinking of, then you can just stay.
You're not supposed to say that, GM. You're supposed to make him trade.
Oh, I'm just saying I don't think it is. We don't know for sure.
Make the
No,
trade.
thanks. I'll stay put. I'm good.
You're supposed to let your draft strategy out, X.
Brandon Bean dealt his
No, I'm
hand.
just saying I don't
I know,
think-
I know, but
He showed me his
and this pick honestly is gonna shock the draft world. And you're probably
okay.
wondering, what could the Bills do? And it's not Bijan Robinson. I'm just gonna say that right now. But what
Okay.
can the Bills
I
do
love that. No, I love that.
that can strengthen their team and give them an element that that maybe they potentially, they don't like it. They have a certain player that is kind of that role for them. But that playoff game did kind of show some weaknesses in this player's game. And you get just there's one specific talent that just blows everybody's mind. And that's the Bills selecting Jalen Hyatt, wide receiver from Tennessee. You also weaken the Chiefs,
I could see that.
who could potentially be looking at Jalen Hyatt for that 31st pick, I believe it is.
yeah.
But I think so. You have Gabriel Davis, which is your deep threat right now. A lot of people, they're really high on him. I'm one of the people that are a little bit lower on Gabriel Davis. I think he's a lot more replaceable of a player that people think he is, and I think it showed in that playoff game against the Bengals. And not only that, but even against the Dolphins, their offense was pretty stagnant at times. And I think you have Diggs there, and you have Gabriel Davis, you have McKenzie, but I don't think Gabriel Davis is that true deep threat receiver. I think he's like a deep threat guy you could use in a pinch. But if you get Jalen Hyatt, you just have all the speed on the field. And not only that, but if he plays to what his upside is, and to be honest, like he didn't really run that great of a route tree in Josh Heupel's offense in Tennessee. It was really limited playbook. They just ran like stack spread. So it's not like we have any bad film of him route running. It's more the film of his route running game's not there. If you're the Bills, you're just banking on it, being better than what Gabriel Davis's route running is, which I wouldn't really say is all too impressive either. And Hyatt's speed is just a lot more than Gabriel Davis. So I think if you're the Bills, this is a slam dunk pick. And it might be unpopular, but
I can see that.
Hyatt with Josh Allen's arm, like
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
That's like a recipe for success, right? And
Yeah.
still got Stephon Diggs there. So yeah, Buffalo Bills get Jalen Hyatt. Jake, you're now on the clock with the Cincinnati Bengals with the 28th overall pick. I know you've been ecstatic to make the selection because I think we all know who it's going to be again. But unless you might surprise us, man, who do the Cincinnati Bengals select with the 28th overall pick?
So I had a little bit of time to think it over, and I'm actually not going to go with the route that I previously was going to. You thought I was going to go Bijan, huh?
No, I thought you were going to go Darnell Washington.
Oh no. I was thinking about going Bijan actually.
Dang,
I thought he was
was
going
wrong.
Darnell Washington too.
I was hoping it was Darnell Washington.
I could see Bijan here.
No, I don't think.
I can see a lot of people here though for the Bengals.
Could I propose something then?
Yeah.
I'm the Eagles at pick 30. You want to show me what picks the Eagles have, Kib?
Forgot Eagles needed running back.
I know they got some picks from was it New Orleans?
No, it was just 10. That's all they had.
Okay, so yeah, so I'm at 30, trying to move up to 28. Could I offer you this year's actually no. Yeah. So this year's the 30th pick, a second from this year, and then a next year fourth.
I'm trying to think of like players I could potentially get. Ooh. That's pick 62, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'll give you 28 as well as 92. And what if you took out 62 and replaced them with Dallas Goddard?
Dallas Goddard.
Yeah.
Oh man. Who else do the Eagles have at tight end? Any starting caliber
Luke
guys?
Musgrave or Darnell Washington.
Okay. Oh, okay. But then
Unless.
But then
no.
they're
But
gonna
if
have
the Eagles, yeah, if the Eagles do keep 62, maybe they can address tight end. But if I'm factoring in positional value, I don't like this trade for the Eagles. So I would say no.
Yeah, they lost enough players. Yeah, they lost enough players as it is too. Crap.
to do Cincinnati stay put.
Cincinnati and Eagles stay put. Jake can make his pick.
okay.
Saints, I'm not gonna pick someone y'all expect. So
Okay, it's cool. It's cool.
All right. So there's some things going on with the Bengals offensive line as of right now. Yeah, you did add Orlando Brown from free agency, so that was a good pickup. But you do have some sudden trade rumors from other teams, and they're calling for Jonah Williams. And there's a little bit of uncertainty on the inside, as well as the Bengals ran the ball in the playoffs versus Buffalo and versus Kansas City. They still need that help in the interior so that they can stay consistent throughout the regular season, so that they don't just make it a December and January thing. They can do it from start to finish, as in terms of like the full football season. And they do need depth in there in general, so they could use another interior lineman. And in terms of interior linemen in general, there is not depth in this class in general. Like you go through like 1 and 2, like after you go through the top 2, there's a pretty significant drop off after the top 2. I think we know who the top 2 guys are. It doesn't really matter what order you put them in. I'm just kind of debating which one to go here. Give me Osiris Torrance. And he's going to be basically a guard that'll be plug and play for the Bengals. And, you also have Joe Mixon, who's getting, another year older, another step slower. I did think of Bijan here just for fun, but it's one of the better running back classes,
we all love Bijan
that we've had. So it really would not be a smart thing if the Bengals did that. Also, if you're considering the depth of the interior linebacker class, which is not the total polar opposite of the running back class, is not deep. So I'm going to play it smart here, and I would say realistic as well. I think this is a pick that they could definitely go with in real life. And I would say Bengals fans will be pretty happy with this pick, and this offense gets another step closer to just reigning dominance on the league for another year.
Yeah, Joe Burrow definitely can use all the help. Especially with that receiving core and Joe Mixon still being a good running back. Beefing up the offensive line is good for any quarterback. But now we got the New Orleans Saints on the clock. And before we get into New Orleans Saints, Darian, you're the owner. I am 31 with the Kansas City Chiefs. Are New Orleans open to trading back to 31?
Let's see the offer.
31 for 29. 31. 122 and a 3rd round pick next year to move back 2 spots.
That's fair. I could take that. I have another option if the option gets picked here.
Okay. How does everyone else feel about that?
I am not going to veto it.
Yeah, I'm not going to oppose either.
Okay. So I have the Kansas City Chiefs moving up 2 spots. They can go a lot of different routes here. Obviously, you think they can use another receiver according to their needs, but I don't think that's a big need. Due to the fact that you traded for Kadarius Toney, you drafted Sky Moore last year, and you got MBS. I don't think they'll go edge. Miles Murphy, I feel like would be a good value pick here due to the fact that he's fallen to 29. They can use another guys with George Karlaftis and Charles Omenihu. That's how you say his name, right? From San Francisco, Charles Omenihu. They can go tackle due to the fact they're losing Orlando Brown and Andrew Wiley, but you got Juwan Taylor at left tackle, right tackle. You got Lucas Niang, and they drafted Darian Kinnard last year. So I don't think it'll be a tackle. But as I go down the line, I see a running back that a team's trying to snake from the Philadelphia Eagles, which is why they traded up. And I say they're gonna go. I'm gonna be fun and get Bijan Robinson and steal him from Philly. Due to the fact that I know Philly was gonna be the guy right there because I don't think they believe in Rashad Penny. But I'm giving them BJ Robinson to pair with Isaiah Pacheco because CEH is a bum, and Bijan Robinson's gonna tear up defenses in that offense with Patrick Mahomes, and Kansas City Chiefs offense just got a lot more scary.
And Pacheco.
Yeah,
Well,
with Pacheco.
So GM Xavier Roseman does have something to say about that, though, because
Xavier Roseman.
Xavier Roseman had a running back in mind that was a better fit for his offense.
That wasn't.
Don't tell me it's him.
That wasn't. Bijan
I know who
Robinson.
it is. I think.
And no,
I think I know who it is.
we are not sold on Rashad Penny. That's why we only gave him a $1 million contract, a $1.3 million contract. And what is the perfect read option running back with Jalen Hurts that just has all the elusiveness, the speed. Not as elusive as Bijan Robinson. Bijan Robinson is a better player, but
pull the trigger.
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yes.
You said Tavian Thomas, right?
No,
I like Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're picking Jahmyr Gibbs. I think honestly, it's just it's such a fit for what the Eagles like to run. Especially like I could just imagine a read option inside zone with Jalen Hurts handing off to Jahmyr Gibbs and them just losing him, and he slips off a couple of tackles and just takes it. But yeah, I just stylistically I think Jahmyr Gibbs fits kind of like the Eagles' little offense. Kind of like how they used Miles Sanders last year. He didn't have to be the greatest, most powerful guy. He had some open room sometimes. It's what he did with that open room that the team liked, and so I like Jahmyr Gibbs for the Eagles.
I like Jahmyr Gibbs too.
Kibby Reed ain't buying next bluff. He is big mad Robinson.
I really wanted to pick honestly like another position on defense, but even though they had a lot of guys leave, they managed to retain Bradbury. They managed to retain Darius Slay. So you think of the secondary, and you already picked Brian Branch, so it's just there's really no need to address it like currently. And yeah.
Okay. And now you got the New Orleans Saints on the clock. They just traded back with the Kansas City Chiefs to snag Bijan Robinson. Roseman's lying. He's really mad Robinson's off the board. So went with Gibbs, his second choice.
Turns out that trade was okay. Yeah, turns out the trade was okay. You get compensation, and the player I want is still on the board. I did think, however, this could go a bunch of different ways. Originally, I was thinking Saints could take a cornerback here. They have Marshawn Lattimore and Adebo, but there's another great corner on here in Emmanuel Forbes, who I'm not picking, but I did think about. He's a ball hawk guy.
No.
But I'm gonna go with Miles Murphy. They just lost Marcus Davenport. They didn't sign another edge. They addressed all their other needs in free agency, like D tackle, linebacker, safety, offense, and Derek Carr. They got Jamal Williams. So they're a team that pretty much has everything. They just missing an edge. And I think Miles Murphy is still on the board at this point. Yeah, you got to take it. You got to take him at 31.
Yeah, I feel like he can be a guy that can maybe go in the early 20s, possibly. So to be there at 31, I feel like is a solid pick in my opinion and good value. A guy that's for a team that just lost Marcus Davenport. They can obviously use more pass rush.
Yeah, we just signed Kalon Sanders and Trying to think of his name.
Inside guys. Nathan Shepard.
Yeah, Nathan Shepard. And
Those
the
are
only other
interior
people they
guys.
have at edge is Carl Granderson, Peyton Turner, Cameron Jordan. So if you pair
Cameron
Miles
Jordan's
Murphy and
getting
Cameron
older.
Jordan, yeah, and then Saints, they're known to develop their draft talents. So I think it's a solid place for him to land. I think it's a great team for him.
This
Yeah,
is a
not
weird
bad.
looking mock. I'm not gonna lie, but
It
What do you
is.
say?
I said it's a really weird looking mock. But at the same time, that how the draft actually turns out, nobody ever expects. So
How it turns out. Well, no one
Yeah.
thought AJ Brown was gonna get traded on fucking draft day. So
yeah,
in Hollywood
quick.
Brown,
Real quickly, can I do the 30-second pick?
go
Oh,
ahead.
yeah.
It's not on here, but you can go ahead.
All right. With the 30-second pick, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Keely Ringo, and that's it.
Nice. I
Oh
respect
yeah,
it.
I can see that.
I know you've been waiting all night to say
I
that.
can see Keely Ringo as a potential first.
Well, I'm gonna recap our
Four quarterbacks off
yeah,
in
go
the first 4 picks. Man,
Yeah, I'm gonna recap our mock draft 2.0 that involved trades, post free agency. The Carolina Panthers selecting quarterback CJ Stroud. Houston going with Bryce Young. Las Vegas trading up to number 3 to get Anthony Richardson, and then Will Levis going to the Indianapolis Colts with 4 straight quarterbacks off the board. And then you go Seattle with number 5 getting Jalen Carter. Will Anderson going to the Lions. The Arizona Cardinals, they traded back to get Christian Gonzalez. The Pittsburgh Steelers traded up with Atlanta to get Paris Johnson Jr. The Chicago Bears select edge rusher Tyree Wilson. The Philadelphia Eagles at 10 pick safety Brian Branch. With the 11th overall pick, the Tennessee Titans select Jackson Smith and Jigba. With the 12th overall pick, the Houston Texans select wide receiver Quentin Johnston. With the 13th overall pick, the Green Bay Packers traded Aaron Rodgers to the New York Jets and selected tight end Dalton Kincaid. With the 14th overall pick, the Baltimore Ravens traded with the New England Patriots to select cornerback Joey Porter Jr. With the 15th overall pick, we had yet another trade with the Jacksonville Jaguars trading up with the Green Bay Packers to select cornerback Devin Witherspoon. And then with pick number 16, the Commanders select tight end Michael Mayer. So that's the first half of the first round. With the second half of the first round, we got the Atlanta Falcons with their trade back selected edge rusher Lucas Van Ness. It wouldn't surprise me if it was Will McDonald either there, but they're going with Lucas
I do
Van
like
Ness.
Will McDonald too. Yeah.
With the 18th overall pick, the Detroit Lions select cornerback Cam Smith. With the 19th overall pick, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select tackle Peter Skoronski. With the 20th overall pick, the Seattle Seahawks select wide receiver Jordan Addison. And then with the 21st overall pick, the Los Angeles Chargers select Kalijah Cansey out of Pittsburgh. With the 22nd overall pick, the New England Patriots traded back with Baltimore to select edge rusher Nolan Smith. With the 23rd overall pick, Minnesota addresses cornerback and selects Deontay Banks. With the 24th overall pick, Green Bay Packers traded back with the Jacksonville Jaguars to select wide receiver Zay Flowers. With the 25th overall pick, we got yet another receiver, wide receiver Josh Downs, headed to New York to play for the football Giants. With the 26th overall pick, the Dallas Cowboys select defensive tackle Brian Breesy. With the 27th overall pick, the Buffalo Bills select wide receiver Jalen Hyatt. And as we get down to the last 4 picks, we got Cincinnati Bengals at 28 selecting Osiris Torrance, guard out of Florida. And then with the 29th overall pick, you have the Kansas City Chiefs trading up a couple spots to select Bijan Robinson out of Texas. And then with the 30th overall pick, we got yet another running back with Jahmyr Gibbs out of Alabama. And then with the 31st overall pick, the New Orleans Saints traded back a couple spots with the Chiefs to select edge rusher Myles Murphy. And that's our mock draft 2.0, our outcome. It was a good one. It was fun. Always fun to do trades too. Obviously, like we said, we don't know what's actually gonna happen on draft day. You never know what's gonna happen, who's gonna trade what and where. You saw, Hollywood Brown and AJ Brown getting traded on draft day last year. So, anything can happen. So, I'm looking forward to the next one that we do. If the rest of the crew can join, that'll be fun. If not, we'll make it work. But you can expect mock draft 3.0 to come out sometime soon, like in about a couple weeks. Hopefully sooner. So obviously, more mock drafts, the fun. No, the better. During this time of year. But yeah, anything y'all gotta say before we head out?
I just want to say, if you're the
Great
you're a
draft
Lions
switch, you
fan,
guys.
this mock draft is a elite defense, man. Elite defense.
You're
Yeah.
a Texans fan. You got some good ones.
Yeah, definitely. Especially like on the what's it called? Because they had addressed a lot of defense in free agency, so it would make sense that they go offense heavy.
Cardinals with Christian Gonzalez. Great pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good picks.
I was surprised we had 2 tight ends go in the first round, but I like it.
Yeah, I feel like that's what's likely going to happen.
I could see those 2 in the first round.
I could see it being it's going to be the first round. In the teens, we'll see. If not, it is what it is. I feel like, especially the Commanders.
But those
Green
2
Bay
I
can
could see
set
first rounder. They're first round talent.
Yeah,
for
they're going to be
sure.
first round. It's just win. We'll see. Those 2 teams, Green Bay and Washington, could use a tight end though. But yeah, if that's all we got, we'll see you guys on the next one. And I hope, if people that watch this on YouTube, leave a like, leave a comment, let us know what y'all think about the trades and the outcome. Also share and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next one.